Hello, and welcome again to Living English. Today, we look at how to talk about what you hope for the future, and also a very small but very important word, if. But first, let's see today's episode of Sisters and Brothers. Now that Anne has found her brother and is going home, she has time for just one more meeting with her friend Sarah and Sarah's brother Steve. Here it is.
Well, you found your brother, we've ordered your wine, and tomorrow you're going home.
Yes. Sarah, thank you for everything.
But you'll come back, won't you?
Yes, if the wine sells well, I'll be back soon. I feel as if I have a second family here.
I'd love to come and see you in Singapore.
Oh, yes, I'll show you around. And you must meet my parents. That'd be great.
If our business goes well, I'll be able to afford it.
There's no ifs about it. You're a very good agent. I'm so happy you're my buyer here.
If you like, I'll come to Singapore with Sarah.
I'd like that very much. You can meet my parents too.
Do you think they'll like me?
Of course they'll like you. If I like you, they'll like you.
I think I better leave you two alone. Ring me if you need help with packing.
I've only just met you, and now you're leaving.
But I'll come back. If you want me to.
Let's look first at ways of expressing hopes for the future, telling someone what you would like to happen or wish to happen. Sarah wants Anne to come back to Australia.
Yes. Sarah, thank you for everything.
But you'll come back, won't you?
Sarah says, "You'll come back, won't you?" She hopes Sarah will come back, and she is also asking Sarah whether she'll come back. Practice with the clip.
But you'll come back, won't you?
Now practice some more examples at home with the pattern you'll, won't you? Phone me. You'll phone me, won't you? Bring some food. You'll bring some food, won't you? Be back soon. You'll be back soon, won't you? Now try with some different pronouns. He'll be all right. He'll be all right, won't he? They'll come. They'll come, won't they? I'll win. I'll win, won't I? Now listen to how Sarah and Anne discuss what they hope for.
I'd love to come and see you in Singapore.
Oh, yes. I'll show you around. And you must meet my parents. That'd be great.
Sarah says, "I'd love to come and see you in Singapore." I'd love to. I would love to. This is how we express things we really want to do. Not things we know we will do, but things we might do. Practice with the clip.
I'd love to come and see you in Singapore.
Practice at home with some more examples of I'd love to. Come to lunch. I'd love to come to lunch. Meet your friends. I'd love to meet your friends. Go to Sydney. I'd love to go to Sydney. Anne talks about what she thinks Sarah should do. Listen again.
Oh, yes. I'll show you around. And you must meet my parents. That'd be great.
Anne says, "You must meet my parents." Must is a strong word. Anne really wants Sarah to meet her parents. Must can also be used for an order. For example, you must not smoke inside, or You must stop at a red light. But in this example, Anne is telling Sarah something she really wants her to do. Practice saying, "You must meet my parents," with the clip.
Oh, yes. I'll show you around. Oh, yes. I'll show you around. And you must meet my parents.
Now let's look at that little word, if. First, let's look at how Anne uses the word if.
Yes, if the wine sells well, I'll be back soon.
We use if to talk about possibility, something that might happen or might not happen. This use of if is called conditional. So Anne says she'll be back if the wine sells well. The wine selling well is the condition for her coming back. There could be other conditions. Practice these using the phrase, "I'll come back." If I have enough money. If I have enough money, I'll come back. If you want me to. If you want me to, I'll come back. If business is good. If business is good, I'll come back. Anne is not sure that the wine will sell well. If she was, she would use when, not if. When the wine sells, I'll come back. Anne uses the word if twice in this example. Listen again.
Yes, if the wine sells well, I'll be back soon. I feel as if I have a second family here.
Anne says she feels as if she has a second family. As if is the same as like. She feels like Sarah and her family are her own family, her second family. Listen now to Sarah thinking about the future possibilities.
And you must meet my parents. That'd be great.
If our business goes well, I'll be able to afford it.
There's no ifs about it.
The condition of Sarah being able to afford to go to Singapore, of having enough money, is business going well. What does Anne say about this?
There's no ifs about it.
Anne says there are no ifs about it. This means she is quite certain that business will go well, and Sarah will come to visit. Well, there are many more examples of if in this episode. It's a very iffy episode. Let's look at some more. First, what is the condition for Steve coming to Singapore?
If you like, I'll come to Singapore with Sarah.
The condition for Steve coming to Singapore is Anne wanting him to. And what is the condition for Anne's parents liking Steve?
Of course I'll like you. If I like you, they'll like you.
The condition for Anne's parents liking Steve is that Anne likes Steve. And of course, we know that Anne does like Steve. Anne is really saying here that she does like Steve, so her parents will too. She could say, "I like you, so my parents will like you too." Hello, Michelle.
Hello, Brenton. Hello, everyone. What do you think will happen if Anne and Steve get together?
I think I hear wedding bells. And what have you got for us today, Michelle?
Some experiments. First, I've got a balloon. What will happen if I blow air into this balloon?
If you blow air into the balloon, it will get bigger.
You're right. And I'll get tired. Now I've got a balloon blown up. What will happen if I let the balloon go?
If you let the balloon go, it'll fly across the room.
Right again. And it'll make a loud noise. Now I'm going to pour some water into this glass. What will happen if I don't stop pouring?
You'll make a mess.
Right, if I don't stop pouring, I'll make a mess. So I'd better stop. Now, Brenton, can I trust you?
I think so.
Good. Then you can help me. If you stand up, I'll show you what I want you to do. Right. Now, I'm going to fall back and you're going to catch me.
I think I can do that.
If you don't catch me, what will happen?
If I don't catch you, you'll fall.
Yes. And if you don't catch me, I won't speak to you.
Huh. Okay.
Oh! Thank you. Let's try a few more examples. What will I do if he doesn't catch me? If he doesn't catch me, I'll fall. He doesn't help me. If he doesn't help me, I'll cry. He isn't nice to me. If he isn't nice to me, I'll leave. Now, Brenton, there's another way of using if.
What's that?
We can talk about things that may never happen.
What's an example?
Okay, here's a globe of the world. Where would you like to go?
Oh. I'd love to go to Paris.
But you're not going to Paris, are you?
No, unfortunately.
But if you went to Paris, what would you do?
I'd go up the Eiffel Tower. If I went to Paris, I'd go up the Eiffel Tower.
Look at the question again. If you went to Paris, what would you do? We use the past tense with if to talk about things that might never happen. Not things we are actually going to do or plan to do, but things we imagine doing.
So, Michelle, where would you like to go?
I'd like to go to Indonesia.
And if you went to Indonesia, what would you do?
I'd visit Borobudur. If I went to Indonesia, I'd visit Borobudur. Why don't you try a couple at home? I'll say a city or country and something to do. Rome. See the Colosseum. If I went to Rome, I'd see the Colosseum. Sydney. Visit the Opera House. If I went to Sydney, I'd visit the Opera House. And tell me, Brenton, what would you do if you won $1 million in the lottery?
If I won $1 million, I'd give it all to you.
I don't believe you. If I won $1 million, I'd travel around the world. What would you do if you won $1 million?
While you're thinking about that, it's time for us to say goodbye.